So just when you come up, just when you're ready, when it's your time. Okay. I'm just going to turn the mic off now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Committee of Adjustment, City of Toronto, our afternoon session. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act, 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Larry Swartz, I'm the chair. I'd like to introduce panel members. On my far left, Mr. Fazeli. Near left, Ms. Casson. Far right, Mr. Allison. Near right, Mr. Marziari. Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from provisions of the zoning that apply to property, permission to extend or to alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. It's now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. This is a hybrid format. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in hybrid, in-person, and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, while others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the City of Toronto Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone, and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. In terms of receiving a copy of a decision, people attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because the Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB, which is the Toronto Local Appeal Body, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, that's TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal, OLT. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed the rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons, and public bodies, as those terms are defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. When you make your submissions, where the application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with our presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. Committee may ask questions or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5 minutes. Any presentation or materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. Committee may decide to defer an application if substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call speakers in the hearing room and those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. Application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Okay. Are there any declarations of interest of panels or staff for the afternoon session? Seeing none. We have some deferral requests. I suppose we should address them now. They were deferred in the morning, but they, for the afternoon agenda, I believe it is item number 22 is the only deferral, correct, this afternoon for the 2 o'clock session. Okay. All right, so having completed the introductory remarks, we're now into the hearing component, and we will start with item 15, which is...
Through you, Mr. Chair, why don't we do the deferrals first?
I thought we did, oh, yeah, okay, 22 deferral, right.
So the first deferral that we have is item
Got it.
number
Okay,
22.
let's deal with that. Thank you. Okay, so for item 22, we have
196
people here.
Glenvale.
So, I mean, just to make it clear, I'm not going to hear anybody unless they're talking to the deferral matter now. I don't want to hear anything on the merits of the application. It's simply a matter of whether we should defer it or not. If we do not defer it, then we will deal with the merits of the case today, only if we do not defer. If we defer it, that will mean that it will come back sometime in the future and the merits will be discussed then. So we're going to turn it over to the applicant to explain why they want a deferral, and then others who are listed will have a chance to rebut or dispute the deferral, but only if they want to. And then the panel will consider the issue of deferral, but not the issue of the application. So, for the applicant, is the applicant on the applicant's registered agent? Are they?
Hi.
Yes. So please state
I'm
your
Jim
name.
Pfeffer from.
So please state your name. Please state your address. Please state your reasons for requesting the deferral.
Hi, I'm Jim Pfeffer from 95 St. Clair Avenue West. I am the applicant. The primary reason for the deferral is that there was an error that was made by the zoning examiner in the zoning notice, and that error got translated to the notice of hearing. So the notice of hearing does not accurately reflect the variances that we're seeking. I think if it is deferred, we have already sent in correspondence indicating that we intend to make reductions to the proposal. And of course, if we had a deferral, we'd take advantage of the time to get a new zoning notice reflecting all of those reductions.
Okay, any further comment, any question from the panel member to the applicant? So again, now we're going to turn it over. There are a number of people listed to speak. They can all address that, but I caution you, we do not talk about the merits, and I'll guide you in the sense that for a deferral, if you want to argue against the deferral, you're going to have to give some good reasons for it. All right, so let's go through the public member.
We'll unmute the first speaker. Thank you.
Okay. So please state your name, state your address, and state your reasons for requesting that the matter not be deferred, if that's what you choose to do. None.
Through
Is
you,
the
Mr. Chair.
applicant preferring to bring back those tiny changes they made?
We need your name and address, please. Who are you? What's your name, please?
Mr. Hartley, can you please state your name and address, please, for the record?
We go on to the next speaker, and we'll come back to him if he's still there. Okay, well, let's go on to the next one then.
Why don't we move on to the next one? We'll come back to Mr. Hartley.
I didn't ask to speak.
Who's that? Well, he didn't ask to speak, so then let's move on. He doesn't want to speak. Do we have to go through this
Mr.
whole-
Chair, we unmuted Mark DiBello Field.
Mark, but what about Warren Bothwick?
I do not have
You couldn't have him,
that
okay. Well, so Mark
person on the call.
Mark
right now.
DeBellafont, if you want to speak, just let us know, and then you'll have to state your name and address.
Yeah.
If you don't want to speak, we'll move on to the next person. But if you do speak, it's just
Yeah.
in opposition to the deferral. That's the only reason to speak. So do you want to speak?
I only wanted to speak because I had a question, but it didn't pertain to the deferral.
Okay, so I can't really answer it. So if it's not about the deferral, we'll move on to the next person, okay? You'll have to ask staff.
It's a question.
But I can't answer any question that doesn't relate to the deferral. So we're going to have to ask you to contact city staff about those other questions. Unless you have something to say
Oh,
about the
can I
deferral,
tell you-
let's move on.
Can I tell you what it's about, and you can let me know if it's something, I just wanted to ask about the floor space index
Yeah, you
calculation.
can't ask about that yet because we can't deal with it until we deal with the deferral matter. But there's excellent city staff who will be pleased to answer your question, who you can call up if we defer this, okay? If we do not defer it, you'll get a chance to ask questions. But right now, we've got a motion to defer. That's what we're dealing with. So if you don't mind, with respect, we'd like to move on to the next person, but I'm sure your question will get answered in due course. So may we move?
Thank you. Understood.
Thank you.
It appears I've been unmuted. My name is Rasamai Victory, and I am at 198 Glenvale Boulevard, so I'm a direct neighbor on
Thank,
the east side. And I have no objections to a deferral.
thank you so much. May we move on to the next speaker, please?
Hello, I am Gail Armstrong at 171 Glenvale Boulevard, and I have no problems with the deferral.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think our next person is our last one, or is it? Yes.
I'm from 192 Glenvale, and I have no opposition to the deferral as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, given, I don't think anybody has spoken, so we don't really have any rebuttal from the applicant. So we'll just go into committee. I'm assuming the committee has no questions from any of the people who have appeared, since nobody other than the applicant made a submission. So let's go into committee. Panel members, any discussion or otherwise a motion on the deferral, please? We have somebody who would like to make a motion or speak.
I can make a motion through you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to make a motion to defer this application based on the applicant's request to revise the zoning notice.
Thank you. Mr. Marzari, motion, seconder. I just see Mr. Fazeli seconds that. Those in favor? Thank you. Matter is deferred. Thank you so much for everyone.
Thank you very much.
Participation. And we will move back to our agenda with the items in order, starting with 15. Okay. So item 15, this is 37 Larrabee Crescent. Was this deferred as well? No? I thought there was something about it for deferral. Anyway, okay. So if it's not, then 15 Larrabee, or 35th application is number 15, and it's 37 Larrabee. Am I correct? This is not...
The agent is before us, Mr. Chair.
Good. So this is a proposal to construct a new dwelling. The application was deferred in the past from the hearing of May 25, 2023. There are 8 variances before us, and also before us, part of the application, there is an arborist report. There are a number of documents, including a letter of support, and there is a staff report. In terms of the 8 variances, they deal with proposed height of the building structure, proposed height of the side exterior main walls on the south side, on the north side, the building length, the front yard setback, the number of stories, proposed area of each platform at the rear of the second story, the proposed platform in the front yard encroachment. And I understand city staff have spoken to the applicant and both parties. I don't know if that's from the previous, yes, that is from the previous report. And that was the reason for the deferral. So let me just check here on this, who we have. I believe we only have the agent here for the applicant. So there is no opposition, in which case I'm just going to canvass my panel members to see the extent to which they require a presentation before I go. You do want a presentation? Or you nodded? Yes. You do want a full, okay. So now I'll turn it back to the applicant's agent, and it is up to you. You've got 5 minutes. State your name, state your address, and tell us if you made any modifications to your application since it was submitted, please. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Committee of Adjustment. Good afternoon to members of the staff. My name is Mirka Kulesza. I'm with Land Design Studio. We are an architectural design company. We are in Oakville. And this is the application regarding a 2-story dwelling for a 4-person family on a pretty large lot of over 1,200 square meters, with a very steep slope towards the street. Actually, the difference between the elevations at the proposed finished grade at the front entrance and the finished grade at the rear wall is 4.5 meters, which is about 15 feet. Original design for the dwelling was submitted a year ago. We received some planners' comments, and it took us quite a few months to discuss it with the owners, how to change the design to make it more acceptable and to planning department. Recently, we've been in touch with the new planner on this file. We've done some changes again. We reduced the number of stories to 2, which is basically, well, this means we don't have variance pertaining to the number of stories. And we've arrived on a design and solution which I believe has been acceptable to all parties involved, including the planner, Sina Zakria. Compared to 2023, we improved the massing, as I said, just by lowering the basement level. Plus, we changed the line of the roof. We lowered the roof eaves so that the impression when you look at the dwelling from the street is that it's a 2-story dwelling, although basically the entrance is at the basement level. It's not on the first floor level. If I heard you correctly, you mentioned there were 8 variances. There have been some changes. Actually, we had 7 variances, out of which one of them has been removed, the one I mentioned, which is the reduction of stories to 2 from 3. I will very briefly address all the items in the planners, in the zoning and planners review. As I said, the building is located on a very difficult lot. Actual front entrance is at the basement level. The rear of the dwelling, the level of the first floor cuts into the ground by about 4 feet above finished grade. Item number 2 of the most recent zoning notice refers to wall heights. They are basically a logical consequence of significant grading range that we have on the lot. As far as building length is concerned, we propose 18.45 meters length on north side of the dwelling only. The south part of the dwelling is 10 meters long. Again, we deal here with the floor levels, which are so different at the front and so different at the back that we've been trying to find really a compromise. We also were limited by location of existing pool and patio around it. This basically influenced also the front yard setback. We couldn't really move the house further toward the pool because the exit from the house would be impossible. The owners would have to walk almost straight into the pool. For that reason, actually, there is a patio that has access from the first floor. To minimize excavation as well, we had to keep the dwelling located further from closer to the street, also for better accessibility. On this file, we have an accessibility issue and barrier-free access. It's connected to the next item of the review, which the next item, actually, I'm sorry, is the 2 stories which we complied with. So basically, there is no variance here. As far as platforms, again, the upper deck platform that we propose, it's
Sorry, but your
yes?
time's almost up, so if you could please wrap it up.
May I have 10 more
10
seconds?
seconds, got it. 10.
Okay, thank you.
That's it?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. All right, panel members, questions? No questions? Yes, Mr. Allison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do recognize that there are some challenges with respect to the elevation increase at the rear. So you're going to have a little bit more of a massing on the front just by nature of the topography. But I also note that from what you're calling the second story up, you've got about over 5 meters, about 5.43 meters, which is closer to about what you'd have in a 2-story condition. I'm just wondering.
I'm sorry,
Let me.
I'm not sure what you, can you show it on the
Sure,
drawing, please?
we'll just pull up the front elevation drawing.
The front elevation, yeah.
Staff can.
Yes?
So from the top of the second, it's noticed as the second floor in this case, to the top of roof, you've got about 5.4, if I'm not mistaken, 5.43 meters, which is almost about 18 feet. If we're trying to mitigate massing, what's with the need for all the height and all of the massing from the second story up? Like it's a mansard roof condition, but
Yes, it's a
what's
mansard.
going on up there that you couldn't get a story in without mitigating the impact of the massing?
Okay, I think can I just talk for a second to the designer? Because I'm not an architect, so I cannot really explain this to you probably in a satisfactory manner.
Sure, yeah.
This is Andrew Kulesza. He's an architectural designer on this file.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Kulesza. I designed this dwelling. And to answer your question, yes, we have 4 meters because we try to create massing which shows this is 2-story building. That's why we lower the roof. And so this is the proportion to the front elevation. Basically, it creates some kind of image of the front elevation. So we can play back and forth. Actually, we had originally lower roof, but for planning department, it was not acceptable. That's why we changed design, we went back and forth, and so finally we arrived to this kind of option, which I believe it is suitable for neighborhood. If you look, when I look around on the same street, the scale, the massing of the building is comparable.
Yes.
Is there a particular address or site that you can reference that is similar to what you're proposing?
Actually, there is a new building at, I believe, 34 Larrabee Street, just across the street to the left.
Yep.
Which is obviously, with the garage not below grade as in our case, but which is obviously pretty high and has 2 stories. The massing of that building is, I wouldn't even compare it actually to the massing. It's just different design. But it's pretty self-imposing, I would say, in the, when you look at the streetscape.
Yeah.
And if you look at the dimensions of our roof, so basically roof space, attic space, is only 2.69 meters. So it's a bit more like this. So this
Right, but you've just indicated that you're pulling the roof down to
We
essentially.
pull the eaves down.
You pull the eaves down.
Yes.
Mask what is
Yes.
being, trying to put an extra story in there. So, and you've created a mansard roof, right, to accommodate the wall height. So then why do you need, if you've got a mansard roof condition off the top of the second floor, what's with the additional 2.69?
Okay, because
on top, because it's just what is going on up there at 18 feet.
Okay, we have to now. Then we have to go to zoning requirements, which a roof is qualified as when we have angle between 15 and 60 degree, and the roof needs to be 60%, more than 50% of the your roof area. So that's why I have to create this kind of mansard, space, which obviously I would avoid it if I would, have.
So my understanding is you've added mass to the proposal to accommodate the bylaw.
That's right. Yeah.
This was done in a conversation with planning department. It was a pretty extensive cooperation.
Yes, otherwise we qualify as a flat roof.
I would like to add one more thing. Each design is a kind of compromise between zoning requirements, planning, and we are very aware of that, between between what the owner and client wants.
Right.
The client insisted on traditional design. I won't classify it more specifically. And if we had to change the roof, let's say to the flat one, of course then zoning requirements change because we are limited even more by the height. But basically it would lose its character. So we wanted to come as close as possible to what the zoning and planning expected, but also to provide, well, to deliver to the client. We had almost a 1 year of exchange trying to explain the position of the city, of the planning department. We kind of educated the, if I may use this expression, we educated, well, we helped the owner to understand what really is expected and why there were certain things that we right away said, no, we cannot do this. It would be just too much, too far, and so on. So this is definitely a compromise. And we hoped after the recent, we were in touch with planning 3 days ago. We hope that we've achieved this compromise.
Okay.
All right. Other questions from the applicant? Okay, are we ready? We're going into committee now. There was no opposition. So, do we have any discussion on this, or do we have a motion? Do you care to bring a motion? Ms. Casson, you're looking as if you might.
Not ready for a motion. I just wanted to, if we're in committee, I just wanted to bring up the concern I have with the size of the rear of the second-story platform. It appears to wrap around the back of the house down the side, if I'm reading that correctly.
Okay.
It's 37.54 square meters where
Yeah.
4 is permitted.
So maybe we're in committee, so why don't I talk, because I know this street too.
Oh,
I know, if it's in Don Mills, I know it. And I've been on this street, but not in years. But I took a look at it. It looks pretty much the same with a couple of big houses, but I believe that this backs on to the Don Valley Parkway. There's kind of noise, there's nothing behind you. It doesn't really matter what's in the back there. Nobody's going to complain about it. So I don't, well, you're not
Yeah.
supposed to talk while we're in committee, but if anybody wants to talk to you, I'll let them out of committee. But I don't really, I know how these people in Don Mills think, and this is just a very, very quiet sort of cul-de-sac type thing, Crescent. People would have been up in arms if anybody's doing anything in Don Mills, as they should be, because it's a sleepy kind of mid-century modern type place. So, I'm not voting, but I'm just saying, we got some concerns here, as we legitimately should have. I know we're being raised, but it's not coming from Don Mills. I don't have those concerns because I know what's going on here. But I'm not a planner, so you do your thing.
I'm just going to point out, usually when we are considering a larger platform, it's at the second story, but it's actually the first story,
Right.
off the kitchen type of thing. This is on the second story, which is the bedroom level, and it wraps around. It's all across the back of the house and wraps around the one side. I might be the only one with the concern, but I think it's a bit excessive.
Okay.
I'll jump in. I've got some pretty significant concerns with the overall massing. There's enough height from the top of the second floor to the top of roof and the roof that they've created to actually, this could even be a fourth story. You could sneak a fourth story in there.
Yeah.
It's over 5 meters from the top of the second floor to the top of roof. And it's a mansard roof. So there's no reason, I just don't understand above, let's say the top of the ceiling on the second floor. I mean, you've got the mansard roof just continues to go up. So it is such an easy adjustment where if you just drop that roof by at least a meter,
Yeah,
You
but-
you could contain those windows within the mansard would read as a dormer, then that story would read as a roof. But what now I'm reading is a 3-story building with a very heavy top to it, and it's extremely imposing.
Well, you stand there and look at it from the street, and you know what you're gonna see behind you on that street? A big apartment building right across the right.
Oh, I don't mind what's going on in the back. I
Yeah,
recognize
but-
the rear
but-
condition.
So like it's almost like blocking it out for people on that. Street.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not voting.
But I think just like bringing the eaves down wasn't really I mean, given the amount of time between the first application and the second, and looking at the changes, they really haven't changed the massing. They've just I mean, they have changed the massing, but they've dropped the eaves to bring the mansard down. I don't know what is going on with all this roof space up there. I understand if it was a pitch,
Yeah.
but it's a mansard. You could put you could add a 4th story in this house, and you wouldn't even know it.
Yeah.
It's so big.
Well, the applicant said that's what her client Her client wanted sort of traditional. Like, take a look at the streetscape. There's like these ultra modern homes on the other side, right? They
Yeah,
could have
but-
done that.
But even as a mansard roof, I mean, it wouldn't extend a story and a half up. I think it would be capped at a certain point. Anyways, that's my thoughts on this one.
Sure. Okay, so we don't have a motion yet? I mean, the applicant is like itching to say something, but we're in committee. I don't really want to entertain any more applications unless anybody else wants to. So do we have any other debate on this? Do we have a motion on it?
Jump in. Can I add one, clarify one
No,
thing?
we can't add anything unless my panel members.
Not just answer to because this is 2 meters, not 5 meters.
I don't want to hear from you, so don't say anything.
Yeah, I think it's a big stretch for me.
Okay, well, let's have a motion from
I'll try a motion for refusal and see where it goes. I'll put forward a motion to refuse the application.
Okay, so we got a motion on the floor to refuse. Do we have a seconder for that motion? I don't see a seconder for the motion to refuse, so do we have any other person who wants to make a motion? Somebody's got to do something here. We've got a long day ahead of us. Please make a motion. Please, I beg you, panel members, to make a motion. Or I'm going to fall asleep. The silence is killing me. Well, if nobody's going to make a motion, I'd like to go back to the applicant then, because if we're undecided on what to do, then let them talk. So we're going to come out of committee. We'll go back to you. Now you can speak, because nobody wants to make a motion. So why don't you just say the things that you were itching to say, but keep it short.
Thank you. As for the platform, this was also designed as exit route and fire route for an applicant who not yet, but probably is going to use the wheelchair pretty soon. Plus, we planned that there will be an access through VPL vertical platform lift at the back to the platform on the second. As far as roof is concerned, the distance between top of wall plate and top of the roof is 2 meters, 70 centimeters. So it's not 5 meters. Just clarification.
Anybody want to, now that we're out of committee, does anybody want to ask a further question of the applicant? No. Okay, we're back into committee? No, we do. We're back out of committee.
Sorry.
We got a question for
Just
you.
clarification on that balcony. The balcony currently is showing to all the bedrooms. So you're saying somebody is going to be in a wheelchair,
Yes, the owner.
right? But not all 3 bedrooms need to have access
No.
to the balcony. Okay.
May I respond to that? Because Andrew is here, and we discussed this issue with Andrew. We are aware, of course, of the 4 square meter limitation of the platform. I discussed it very fiercely with the owner and with Andrew as well. Andrew says that if the 37 square meters is excessive, he is able to replace the part above patio with the roof. So there will be some shade above the patio. We lose the egress from those bedrooms, but we still have egress from the, what's the second floor room? From one of the rooms, where closest to the stairs. If you look at the platform, the northeast corner, so we are able to change the roof, the platform above patio on 2 walls to the roof. This way, we basically reduce the platform size by, well, 60%, 70%.
So what would be the number, the area of the patio? Do you have like an exact number?
We don't have the exact number, but
No,
I
we
would
do have a
treat this
number.
platform at the master bedroom as a porch, backyard porch. Because
This is the upper deck.
Yeah, this is upper deck, which is between the main floor and second floor.
Yeah.
And we are able to remove this platform which is surrounding the courtyard.
The patio. We call it the patio.
Yeah, patio.
In the corner, you know where L-shaped building is? The corner on the north and west, along the north and west wall of the patio.
I understand that this is a matter of privacy, but in this case, I don't think it should be affecting any neighbors, because basically it's...
We also have several neighbors who supported the application, which I didn't manage to mention.
Plus, it's lower the scale of the rear elevations as well.
So, do we have, I mean, we're going to come back into committee, but while we're out of committee, if there's anybody that wants to ask questions, such as perhaps if there's something that's bothering you that you'd like them to change, this is your chance. We'll have lots of chances if we keep going like this, but this is a chance. Otherwise, we're going back into committee. Okay? Anybody? Questions? Mr. Allison, you were the one that wanted to refuse, or you think you can get something out of them that will make you happy about this? You want to try it? No? Okay. Let's go back into committee. Back into committee. Okay. I'm really looking for a motion, right?
I'm actually ready to make a motion.
Okay.
I agree with Mr. Allison. It's a big mass, but I also appreciate that the applicant worked with the city planning. I don't see any concern from the city planning. So it's not. I mean, the height is not that much concerning. I'm a little bit concerned with that, with the area of the platform at the back. Again, there is no objection from the neighbors, so I'd like to make a motion to approve this application with variance number 6 being removed. And also, I want to suggest for that platform to add a privacy screen. So variance number 7 with addition of the privacy screen.
On the privacy screen, you just want it on the,
You have
you
to be
want it
more
on the south
specific.
side, the north side, or all around?
On the neighbor's side.
On the north side.
On the north side.
Yeah.
Okay.
5 feet.
1 point.
1 point, actually, 1.8, 6 feet.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so,
Sorry,
just to be-
through you, Mr. Chair, are you refusing variance 6?
They are removing, actually.
They removed it?
Suggested
Okay, thank
removal.
you.
all right, so we're removing, it has been removed by the applicant, but we're just confirming that in our motion to approve, right? So let's just be clear so staff can get this. Motion to approve, taking out variance 6, adding the privacy screen, which is 6 feet, only on the north side. Were there any other conditions that you wanted on that?
I don't
motion?
see any other reports, so
Okay.
I don't see any.
So we got a motion on the floor. Needs a seconder to proceed. And I'm looking at the two people who might do that as you're both not doing anything. Does anybody like to second this? Because if not, okay. So Ms. Casson has seconded. Ms. Casson has seconded it. So it's on the floor. And I know Mr. Fazeli is looking like he either wants to vote or he wants to go to the bathroom. What do you want to do? I'll ask you before. You want to go? Let's vote on it. Let's vote, please. Now, all in favor? It is approved. All opposed? Got one opposed. I am neutral. Congratulations. It has been approved.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate your remarks as well. Thank you.
Congrats.
Okay. So we're on to something that's going to be maybe comparably exciting. 41 St. Hilda's Avenue. This is number 16. This is to construct an addition to a rear north. No? What did I do? I read the wrong one. What? I'm so confused. I can't even figure. I'm going backwards in time. Where are we? 16. What am I doing here? I'm all confused. Maybe I got it wrong. 41. Is this 22 Mann Avenue? Where am I? Number 16? Well, I'm all confused. I went. What did I? So we're not.
Is the list? Sorry, Mr. Chair, there's a bit of misnumbering. We're just trying to work it out.
We take a.
Is it? Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break just to figure this out, okay? Let's take a 5-minute break to figure out where we're at, and we'll be back in 5 minutes, okay? Thanks. Okay, are we rolling? Are we live? I'm assuming we are, right? Okay, very good. So, next item, item 16, St. Hilda's Avenue. This is to construct an addition to the rear north portion of an existing dwelling and a third-story addition in conjunction with other interior and exterior alterations. We have a number of documents on file, including a counselor letter and 7 objection letters, 2 ravine reports. This deals with 3 variances: proposed north side yard setback, proposed south side yard setback, proposed floor space index. Okay, and we have a applicant, an agent for the applicant, and we have 2 residents. I believe it's only 2. Yes. So, I believe they are on the line. The applicant's agent, please state your name, please state your address, and please say if you have made any changes to the application. All right? Please go.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and panel members and staff. My name is Lucas Kowaleski, owner and agent for 41 St. Hilda's. We have not done it. We haven't made any changes to our application. Please, if you look at the presentation material, you'll see that we had 3 goals when we set out for our renovation. 1, preserve green space. As a result, we have decided to build up instead of back. This aligns with the north addition of the existing house. The 3rd story preserves green space as we are not consuming more of the backyard. 2, prepare for a multi-generational home. The house requires additional square footage to meet our family's needs. 3, modernize our existing home. We love the aesthetic of the neighborhood and want to renovate instead of building new. For these reasons, we need to ask for these 3 minor variances. The next slide, I understand that precedence is not an argument. I did not want to show, I want to show that we are not the first in the neighborhood to make requests of this nature. The 5 homes, next slide, show 3rd stories in the neighborhood with comparable FSIs. To better visualize what we are hoping to build, please pull up the proposed floor plan, beginning with the main floor, page 10, A2.5. You see here the addition of the north side of the home, which continues along the existing wall. The dimensions are 14 feet by 11 inches by 9 feet 4 inches. Please flip to the proposed second floor plan, page 11, A2.6. You see here that the addition matches the footprint of the main floor. By adding this space, we are able to create an in-law suite. Please flip to the proposed 3rd floor space, page 12, A2.7. You can see here that the 3rd floor story follows the previously discussed addition up. It aligns with the existing structure of the north and south side. Next, I would like to address the letters of objection. I reached out to my immediate north and south neighbors to make them aware of the committee meeting. That said, I have discussed our project with them in person in the past. I only communicated with my immediate neighbors given how minor the variances are. I only found out about my immediate neighbors' objections after they were posted online. I then reached out to both my neighbors to help them understand our goals and to answer their questions and concerns. My neighbor to the south was satisfied with my response and shared an additional letter that she has not categorically disagreed with our proposal. My neighbor to the north, however, does not feel comfortable with our proposal. She believes we will be restricting access to her backyard. In our proposal, the walkway between the houses will remain unchanged. 3 additional neighbors submitted letters of objection during the referral period. I would like to call out that the neighbor at 30 St. Hilda's did not sign their name nor provide the contact information of their letter of objection. They are the homeowner of one of the homes I showed. And lastly, without any prior contact, our city councilor, Jay Robinson, shared a letter voicing concern. I was disappointed that she did not reach out to discuss our proposal for our family home. She has not returned any of her calls or emails. Despite these unfortunate comments, we are steadfast in our proposal and request that we have not received any additional feedback from the city planner. We believe that our minor variances meet the 4 tests of the committee. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Questions from panel members to the applicant? Any questions? No. All right. So on to the next person. We have a resident. Please state your name. Please state your address. Please make your presentation within 5 minutes. Hello.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Brian Katz, it's unmuted. Please talk if you hear us.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, committee. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I guess there's a couple of issues that are going on here. I think the first one.
Hello. You have to state your name and your address, and then go ahead with your presentation, please.
Yeah, Brian Katz. I'm at 32 St. Hilda's.
Thank you.
There's a couple of concerns that have occurred. I think the first one is nobody on the street actually received the first planning notice. This meeting was actually supposed to be held a week ago, and nobody received a planning notice, and it was only by virtue of a sign that was posted on the front door that people are aware of it. The second thing is this meeting occurs directly in March break. Most of the neighbors are away. And I can tell you this is a very small street. There's approximately 43 homes on the street that's all built within the same historical period of about 1930. And it is reflective of a historical neighborhood with several homes being categorized as historical in nature. The diagram that the applicant has put up showing various houses, there are no houses on the street that exceed 64% gross floor area. And specifically many homes, not many homes, there's been 2 or 3 homes that have proposed higher in around 68%, and they've all been refuted and turned down by the committee. Again, my very basic understanding in here is that I guess there's a renovation that's occurred over the past 2 years. I'm not sure if permits were acquired for that or not, but that was the expansion and the addition of a second floor addition and pretty extensive renovation. So I don't know where that stands. And now all of a sudden it's a 3rd floor. And about the massing that's occurring in here, I believe, reading from the plans, is about 102.64% massing, which is definitely excessive for all neighborhoods. The other piece of this thing is the extensive size of the height of the roof. And it is beyond anything on the street right now. Again, this is all historical. They're pretty much Tudor homes, 2-story. The diagram, again, that was shown has natural attic space with a dormer as originally built in around the 1930s. So this is totally out of character for the neighborhood. Again, it's a very small street, all the same look and feel. I know the neighbor to the south is away on, the immediate neighbor to the south is away on March break. The one on the north, they have some personal issues and weren't able to attend today. But obviously there's going to be significant lighting, sizing issues, along with the side yard setback, which is extremely small for that property. Anyhow, I appreciate you hearing the concerns. I guess my suggestion is to postpone this hearing until the neighbors actually have had a chance to really go through the plans and can come back and perhaps talk to the applicant so that they can work through something that's reasonable and agreeable, especially the immediate neighbors. So that would be my proposal.
Do we have anybody who has a question of the resident? Any members? I do, because I just don't understand, like resident, Mr. Katz, you said that there wasn't notice given? I mean, that's not what we have in our package. So are you alleging that there wasn't proper notice given of this application?
There wasn't proper notice given of this application.
Well, and can you provide something more? Like why do we have on our file the information that notice was posted, given in accordance with the proper procedures? And so that's one question. Why do we have that? And second question is, did you take this up with the city? Did you call city planning? Have you talked to anybody else, or are you just raising this here?
No, there's been notes that have gone back into the city from various neighbors asking about it. So I don't know why this was deferred from the original session, which was supposed to be a week ago. But again, I mean, it's a good question. I'm not sure why nobody received notice, but it wasn't achieved.
All right. Okay.
So people are basically not prepared, and it's also March break. So it's a combination of both those things.
I don't buy
I think
the
it's
March
unfair.
break. No, March break, you're not going to convince me on that. I just, like, this is a virtual
Why is that?
hearing. People could be on a beach in Florida and they could be here. So that I don't buy. I'm concerned about the notice issue, but we'll deal with that. Anybody else have? Okay. Thanks, Mr. Katz. So let's hear from the next person, please.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Deborah Orkuhart is unmuted.
All right, madam, please state your name and address. You'll have 5 minutes, please.
Deborah, can you please talk if you can hear us?
To the speaker, you've been unmuted, so can you just please state your name and address?
Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Go ahead,
hi,
we can
please
see.
state your name, state your address, and
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, I'll start again. My name is Deborah Urquhart. I'm the owner of the property at 43 St. Hilda's Avenue. I'm here today regarding the minor variance application at 41 St. Hilda's. To begin with, I want to reiterate what I have said in a previous statement, and that is that my property is not accurately reflected in the survey submitted with this application. In fact, my house extends to the east on the same line as the garage pictured in this survey, an additional 5.71 meters. This is an addition that was built by the previous owners prior to 1997. It's a one-story addition which required minimal excavation and is positioned over 4 meters from any structure at 41 St. Hilda's. Thus, it doesn't create any drainage issues, obstruct access to the backyard, or light to the adjacent property. Regarding today's application request for a north yard setback of 0.14 meters at 41 St. Hilda's, I am opposed to it, as I am of the opinion that it is far too close to the property line and to my existing building. There would be about 56 centimeters or 22 inches of separation between the houses if it were granted. I have concerns regarding damage from such a major excavation near my building. As well, I have concerns regarding drainage, brick deterioration, access to my backyard, and restriction of light to my skylights, all of which I've mentioned in my first letter of objection to the committee. I would therefore ask the committee to reject the request for the north side yard setback of 0.14 meters. Concerning the floor space index variance request of 0.65, I'm a bit confused by it. The site statistics noted on page A1.1 of the plans included with the application to construct an addition to the rear north of the dwelling and a third story indicate that the existing FSI is 68.97% and the proposed FSI is 102.64%. So I don't know where the 0.65 FSI comes into play. It has been suggested that the requested floor space index of 0.65 actually pertains to the addition to the back of the house, which the applicant built in November, December 2022 and has yet to complete. If that's the case, I think that should have been made clear to all those concerned in the application. At any rate, I am opposed to any increase in FSI beyond 0.65, as it would not be in keeping with the neighborhood. While there have been other recent renovation additions in the neighborhood, to my knowledge, they have not exceeded 0.65. An FSI of 102.64, which is proposed, would be totally out of line. Regarding the notification of the meetings, the first meeting, we did not receive notification in the mail of the Committee of Adjustment meeting. It was only after it was deferred that we received information in the mail about it. Anyway, that's all I have to say today. Thank you very much for your time and for your attention.
We have questions of the residents. I just wanted to ask you, Madam, like the notice, the previous speaker said that there wasn't notice given or notice was improper, but you said that that might have been for the previous application, but not for this one. Is there any concern about the notice that was given for today?
No, I think all the neighbors received today's notice. There was the first notice.
Okay.
And I know the letter that went out said it was mailed March 6th, but no one received a mailing. It was just the notice on the door of 41 St. Hilda's that alerted anybody to the fact that it was going to the committee, anyone in the neighborhood.
But there
was no actual mailing of that first meeting, but
today
there was of the second one.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. No other questions. So let's move on. We're back to no further speakers. So back to the applicant. The applicant can address the concerns that are raised by the two speaker residents, please.
So with the we have a permit for the existing for the structure that we built in the back. The walkway between the houses will stay the same at 0.99, so roughly 3 feet. We're building with matching the existing garage wall. We're not going past closer. Like on our survey, we're using our survey. We're not using the neighbor to the north survey. So that's why we're only asking for 0.14 compared to what on her survey it would be. We'd be just going on her survey would be going 0.55 meters only. So it'd be a less of a setback. And then the deferral was because there was incomplete description on the proposal. So at the first, that's why it was deferred. We didn't change any of the material. We have no height restrictions. City staff had no comments. That's it.
Okay. You got a question, Ms.?
I have a quick question from the applicant. So variance number 1 and 2 in regard with the setbacks, you are following the existing setbacks, correct? On both north
existing structure, yes.
So
on both south and north side.
So the existing setbacks are 0.14 on the north side and also 0.40 on south side, correct?
On the south side. Yes. On my survey, on the survey that we submitted to the city, that was approved.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Allison?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm a little bit confused, frankly, with the scope. My understanding is this is an application to construct a third story at the rear, but there's some pretty there's some inconsistencies with respect to the front elevation, both existing and proposed, that I'm hoping the applicant might speak to. Just drawing A
So originally-
3.5 and drawing, well, the existing one would be A 2.9.
So so this is a revision for the addition, because the addition was only, the original plan was not to have a third story, but then once we had to go to committee of adjustments, we thought we should probably put a third story in the rear to make it a house that would fit better our family's needs. So that's why there's been changes
What? So
to our proposal.
I didn't quite understand your answer. So the addition is at the rear. Are there any changes to the front
It's on the
west
north,
elevation?
Sorry. So it's on the north. It's on the northeast corner is where the addition is happening, and that's 2 stories, and it's going to go on top. And then the roof is going to change above the garage to be hipped roof.
Okay, so you are changing the roof structure at
Instead of
the
a
front
peak.
of the off the front main wall then.
Just off of where the garage is, that's going to, instead of having a peak, it's going to be a gabled roof to match the south roof.
Yeah, I see. It's the gables are actually being changed on both sides. Okay. So there is
The gable is
so
going to
this
get removed off of the
so you are is it fair to say that you're actually demolishing the entire roof structure and rebuilding it?
No, we will be keeping the existing roof structure on top of the south roof.
The south roof.
A portion of it, because we only the third floor is only 23 feet from the east to the west. So there's 13 feet of roof that's existing.
Off of the front main wall, you're saying?
Off the front, yes.
Okay, which is a west elevation. Yeah, your drawings are inconsistent. I've got 2 different roof structures existing and proposed. So I frankly, it's a little bit confusing for me to understand the limitations of the scope here. Because I thought it was limited to just the rear portion, but I noticed that you've got a different roof structure on the front elevation of the house as well.
Just on the over the garage, and then the snow dormer. Yes.
So you don't have any further questions? You're happy with that? I just don't understand. Do we have separate drawings that are inconsistent here?
Yeah, there's an existing west elevation, and then there's a proposed west elevation, and there's 2 front gables, which are part of you see they're pretty consistent on the street. I just note in the proposed that they're just redrawn completely different. It throws me because the scope, I thought, or my understanding is the scope really pertains to an addition on the back beyond or at the chimney and beyond. But
Yeah.
It looks like there's a substantial alteration being proposed to the front section of the roof as well. It just doesn't. It wasn't captured in any of the purpose.
Okay.
It wasn't
so
discussed. So I
see
don't
what
know.
you're saying, because now
I don't know if it was an error or it was done.
Well, what drawings are we dealing? What are we approving here? If we're going to approve it or disapproving? Like I see, there's 2 west elevations. Which one do we deal with? Like this is.
Well, the proposed, but the proposed is what's shown in the proposed isn't captured in the scope, and maybe it's not really.
Okay,
No,
well,
just,
I don't know.
something I caught on the elevation, but it just never came up in discussion.
Does everybody understand what they're voting on here? I just want to.
You guys see the change?
Okay, I think,
Yeah.
okay, everybody understands it. All right.
To the variances, but
Okay, so then, are there any other, so we've had that, I mean, we've still got the applicant before us, right? We haven't gone into committee. Do we have any more questions for the applicant?
I have a question, Mr. Chair. Why are the, on the proposed site plan, I don't see the side yard setbacks indicated. Why are they not on there?
Oh, they're missed maybe?
Sorry?
But we did, but then they're not in there?
Doesn't look like it.
There was a survey that was added. There was a survey added that has the setbacks on there.
But is this the survey that looks like it's from 1930 something? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes. Yes. The original one.
But it's customary to include, especially if you're applying for a variance, to have the notation on the site plan of what that side yard is. In your proposed site plan, it looks like you have no side yard, essentially. Or very little. I know it's small, but
Yeah, it also limits us in tying to any drawings because they don't have the notation on there, so.
I agree with my colleagues. I think it's a very poor drawing set. It's really hard to understand what's being proposed. The elevations, site plan, it took me a lot of time to understand what's being proposed as a.
was a zoning review undertaken for this to the
We have
applicant?
to rely on the zoning review, but it's hard to understand the zoning review from the drawings, so. But we have to vote on the zoning variances, so.
We got to deal with it. So like, we haven't come into committee yet. So while we're outside of committee, we've asked our questions, but we can still ask questions of the applicant if anybody has them. Otherwise, I'd like to go into committee.
I have one more question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to, I think the applicant provided an example at 26 St. Hilda's. It's a fairly new construction. I think the dwelling, the massing is it's actually very similar. And the addition on the third floor that's being proposed is I think similar in nature. But perhaps, I heard some neighbors in opposition saying there's nothing like it on the street, but I mean, this was just built. So I think everybody on the street should be very aware of 26 St. Hilda's. And if I understand correctly, based on what I'm interpreting from the drawings that I have before me, it's very similar in nature to 26. So maybe we can just expand a little bit on that specific that example there. The applicant can perhaps just speak to that a little bit.
Yes. So our addition is going to be 13 feet from it's going to be further back, so there's going to be more roof lines. So we're actually going to be exactly copying close to what the 26 St. Hilda's did. Yes.
Is there any, I mean, in terms of like, height and massing and all that, it does seem, based on your drawing set, it does seem, similar. I don't have that application before me, so I'm basing that off of, the photos that were submitted. But generally, would you say that the variances for that would be similar in nature? I mean, I can see
Very
that
similar to that house, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'd like to go.
That's where the idea actually came. That's where the idea came from.
So I'd like to go into committee.
From houses around on the.
Somebody is objecting to me going into committee. I'd like to go into committee, and we've kicked this around a bit. We can kick it around some more, or we can have a motion. But before we have a motion, I just want to be clear. Like, you may have noticed, I asked residents about notice. I've asked about, drawings and that. Like, there's no appeal by residents, right? And so I want to be sure that we get the technical aspect of it right in terms of, has notice been given properly and do we know what we're voting on? If there's any doubt, I urge my members to, not approve, but I'm not going to vote on this. So either if you're if you're satisfied, then put a motion forward to approve it or refuse it, but somebody should put a motion on the floor. I have to, I'll put one, but I'm not going to do that yet.
I'm happy to bring a motion. I think I understand the neighbors' concerns. I think the street has got a tremendous amount of character. I think a lot of the houses are very similar in nature. So when you're proposing an intensification, particularly a third story, you want to be mindful of the streetscape and the built form of the street. I particularly am satisfied with a recent addition on the street that I noted across the street. I think it forms part of the immediate context. I think the massing is very similar in nature, and the addition is kind of sensible, where you can understand what the existing built form is, or what the original built form is, what the addition is. So there's a clear delineation. And I think this is very similar in nature. So for those reasons, I'm happy to bring a motion to approve the application.
Okay, so we got a motion to approve?
I second that. I don't have any concern with the variances, but again, I wish to see a little bit more clear drawings, a better quality drawings to understand the application, but I second that.
Okay, yeah, but
That's why we took so long with this. The drawing set, frankly, was just pretty bad.
Well, as long as you know what you're doing, right?
know where to
Like,
put it.
I mean, the drawings are the basis of our approval, are they not? So, there we go. Okay, so we got a motion to approve. Now, are there conditions on this motion? Just be sure we got it
I don't see any.
right. No conditions. All right, those in favor of the motion? Okay, so everybody's in favor, so it's approved. Congratulations to the applicant. Let's move on to item 17, which is 22 Mann Avenue. This is to permit a parking pad in front yard of the subject property. This application was previously deferred from Thursday, February 1, 2024. So what we have is one variance request. We have 4 forestry reports. We have a Metrolinx comment. We have a transportation report. We have another transportation report. We have a couple of some other things, and I believe I'm not sure, but I think one of the forestry reports may be negative, but we'll figure that out. The proposed soft landscaping is equal to 62%, and this is item 1722 Mann. I believe there is no speaker against this. I believe it is only the agent here. So let's put the agent on, and if he could please state or he or she state your name, address, and tell us if there's been any amendment to this since it's been filed. Please.
Okay, hello, Mr. Chair and committee members. This is Faranaik Bahodron. I'm the agent of the property 22 Mann Avenue. And the application proposing the creation of a new parking space in the front yard, therefore reducing the front landscaping to 45.4% below the permitted amount of 75% of the front yard. We believe the following points emphasize our support for the variances. First, the proposed development align with the surrounding context of the area. Many properties in the neighbors, such as 24, 26, 18, 19, 21 Mann Avenue, all in neighbors and have a parking pads in their front yard, which are adjacent to the subject property as well. And this proposal maintains the consistency with the essential character of the neighborhood, therefore. I also need to mention that initially we submitted the application with a different drawing. However, as part of the parking pad encroach into the city property and requires off-street parking space, the city provided comments and condition and asked revision of the drawing. The comments asked that the comments was the access to the parking space is required to be from the existing driveway. So the updated proposal comply with the city comments. Additionally, in terms of the soft landscaping, that is our variance, We intend to we intend to use the permeable surface for the parking pad to minimize environmental impact. So I think in conclusion, we believe that the proposed development respects the character of the neighborhood while addressing city comments and concern. I'm happy to answer any question.
Right, questions, panel members? Yes? No, okay. We do. Mr. Allison.
For the applicant, did this, this is a new build on the site or this pretty extensive renovation. Was there a previous committee approval associated with the construction or the proposal that was just completed? Actually, and I'll add my question in there with it, my second question in there with it. If there was, my question is why wasn't that applied for when the proposal for the entire project was put forward? Why is this coming forward now?
You know, we are the agent regarding the parking space in front yard landscaping. The rest renovation, I'm not sure about it because I'm just the applicant regarding this issue. If they have any renovation inside, I'm not sure about it. I don't have any idea about it.
Okay. Well, perhaps you can answer this. I've noted that you noted that there's some precedent on the street. It does seem like number 20, 22, 24, and 26, which are they're two semi-detached houses. They are the lot sizes, particularly the lot widths, are noticeably narrower than the typical lot on the street. And perhaps that's why I can see why you're falling short on the soft yard landscaping. But perhaps you can speak to that a little bit.
Regarding the neighbors, sorry, what exactly your question?
Well,
what,
you made a comment that that there's certainly precedent on the street, and you've given some examples. But
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
pointing out there's a pretty clear. It's pretty clear to me that there's 4 lots on the street. It's ranging from number 22 to number 24. Or sorry, number 20 to 24, where the lot sizes on these 2 semi-detaches are frankly a little bit smaller than all of the other lots on the street, right? So I can see why, it would be challenging to meet the zoning requirement in this case, right? So do you realize that? Do you notice that the lots are a little bit smaller? Perhaps you can just speak to why you think the variance would be appropriate on a lot this width, given that the typical lot on this street is significantly wider.
It seems, as you see the pictures, it seems they are the same. For example, 22 Mann Avenue with 26 Mann Avenue, it seems they approximately have the same frontage.
Yes, I noted that, number 20 to 26, but I'm asking about the rest of the street,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very different.
But 24, 26, both has a front yard parking space.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think it's also important to note that this is a mutual driveway. So they're limited the space that they have for the driveway because it's shared with the next door neighbor. So I think that's one of the reasons they can't. It's not a dedicated driveway,
Right.
right?
But I need to mention that the neighbors, 24, has a parking pad in the front yard, and they don't use the driveway anymore, and they use the garage in backyard as an storage right now.
All right, any more questions for the applicant?
No.
So,
I actually have a quick question. So I'm looking at this street view. The house is old, but I'm looking at the drawing. It appears that the house is a new build, or extensively renovated. So I have the same question, why this variance hasn't been asked at the stage of that approval? I don't know, or there was no variance, and can you clarify if the building is new or renovated?
As far as I know, the building is not new. They may renovate it, but we are the agent regarding just parking space pad.
But this
I
is
know they
important for
had
us.
a
Sorry to
different
interrupt you.
application. Uh-huh.
Sorry to
I
interrupt
can
you, but
understand.
This
I
is
can
important
understand.
for us because we want to understand if this was an application to the Committee of Adjustment before or not, and this is a new thing that is being asked, or it was a part of.
Through, Mr. Chair, through you, we can put a picture up from the forestry denial memo. It actually has a picture of the front of the house.
Yeah. And they put a
I know they had an application, the building application before. I'm not sure, maybe 2-3 years ago, but I'm not sure is it about the renovation, outside renovation or not. But I know they had another application before. I can check it. I think I have it in my computer. If give me a second, I can check that one.
Yeah. I'm struggling with the desirability of it.
All right, so are we satisfied? Are we ready to move into committee? We don't have any more questions? Let's go into committee. Is there anybody prepared to bring a motion on this in committee? Anybody who wants to discuss it anymore?
I'm happy to jump in. I've got a bit of concern with this one.
Yeah, but sorry, Madam Applicant, we're in committee now, so we can't entertain your submissions anymore.
I do recognize there are quite a few streets in the city that have front yard parking pads, and it's not, you know, the nature of these streets is basically, it's a lot of hardscaping and it's a lot of vehicles that are kind of pressed between the street or the sidewalk, and they basically go right up to the house because there just isn't the space. I don't see that, I see a little bit of that condition here, but I recognize that the lots on this street generally are a little bit bigger and could better accommodate, vehicles and parking. I do note that that the lots specifically for these 4 houses here, from number 20 to 26, they are much narrower lots. So they're going to have a much harder time being able to put a car in the front yard without meeting the bylaw. That said, I also take a little bit of issue with the fact that they're coming back now to toss this in after they've built the project and after the city has gone and planted a tree in the front. It just doesn't, the test on desirability, it doesn't meet for me to remove a city tree to accommodate a vehicle that could very easily be parked on the street. I mean, so for that reason, I'll put a motion to refuse the application.
Okay, so we got a motion to refuse.
I
We have a
second that.
seconder? Okay. Okay, so we got the motion on the floor. Mr. Allison, seconded by Mr. Marziari. All those, so the motion is to refuse. All in favor of the motion to refuse? Okay, so there's 4, I don't have to vote, so it's been refused. Thank you. Now we move on to the next application, which is number 18. Number 18 is 485 Hopewell Avenue. It's a proposal to reduce landscaping requirement for the rear yard. There is one variance, and the variance is the proposed rear yard landscaping area. Deals with the proposed rear yard landscaping area. There are some items on file, including transportation reports. All right, so I think on this one, we've got only we have the applicant and a translator for the owner applicant. All right, now, just before we go to the applicant and the translator, do we want to hear from them?
I have one quick question.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just curious to what they're actually doing. I understand the purpose states that they want to reduce the stockyard landscaping, to reduce the landscaping requirement in the rear yard, but for what? What are they doing?
Okay.
Are they hardscaping the ground? Are they built? Because on the plan I see proposed garage.
Okay.
I need a little bit of clarity there.
Okay, so we'll turn it over to the applicant, but the applicant, hopefully, the translator for the applicant has been able to explain to the applicant that the panel would like to really have a better understanding of what is going on with this application. All right, so if you could please, applicant, please state your name and your address, and please advise if there's been any change to this since it was first, or since it was submitted last.
Hi, my name is Joseph Reda. I'm the owner. So my English is not perfect, so I think it's better my translator to talk to you. And I already explained everything to my translator, so I think it's better he talk to you yours.
So is it translated?
Good afternoon, committee.
Okay, thank you.
I'm Daniel Oliveira. I'm the translator for Mr. Jose Cabrera.
Okay.
The issue with this is that there was a previous committee hearing where the garage was approved as built, and due to miscommunication between the architect and the zoning examiner, this variance was missed. If we had known, we would have included it with the original application that was done, I would say, about 6 months ago.
All right. So does that answer the question, Mr. Allison? I take it that's the submission. Is there more questions from the panel of the applicant and the translator before we go into committee? All right, so let us now go into committee. Panel members, questions, comments, motions? Have a motion on this?
Just want to confirm whether or not there's access at the rear of this garage, or
Do we wanna
the access
come-
is
you
only
wanna
off the.
Come out of committee and go back to them and ask them?
Oh, I apologize. Maybe perhaps our colleagues can, just give me a moment.
We can come out.
Look at the survey. There's a right of way on both sides. Yeah, I apologize, Mr. Chair, but it would be helpful to get a little bit of clarification. It seems like the reduction in landscaping is to accommodate hardscaping for the garage, but it's unclear whether or not the garage already has access off the laneway from the rear. But some clarification would help.
Okay, so we're gonna come out of committee, back to the applicants. Pose your question, Mr. Allison, to the applicant.
Is there any access to the rear? Is there any laneway access at the rear?
There is a laneway there, but there is no access. It is not allowed. They're only allowed to access the garage through the shared driveway.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, back into committee. So, do we have a motion, please?
Go ahead.
I'm ready to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I think the requested variance is minor and it's necessary to get access to the garage, so I'd like to make a motion to approve. I don't see any condition, transportation, no comment, so with no condition.
Yeah, I'm happy to second.
Okay, Mr. Allison, those in favor? It's approved. Thank you. Congratulations. On to the next item, which is item 19. Item 19 is 39 Kenton Drive, a proposal to construct a new one-story rear addition. There's 4 variances. We have before us a forestry report, several documents. Just outline the 4 variances they deal with proposed lot coverage, proposed building length, proposed building depth, proposed platform encroachment. All right. There is no one here to oppose this, just the agent of the applicant. I turn to my fellow panel members and ask, is there any desire for a presentation? Thank you. Now we go back to the applicant's agent. The applicant's agent, you may state your name, you may state your address. You can tell us if there's been any changes to it, but you've heard the panel members do not need a full presentation. If you want, you can spend a minute or so. You've got 5 minutes, but we don't need you to take it. So maybe just give a brief introduction and let us go. All right?
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Simon Rowlands. My address is 8 Pretoria Avenue. I am the agent for this property at 39 Kenton Drive. I think the application is for a one-story rear yard addition. All of the variances are minor and meet the 4 tests of the of a minor variance. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you. Panel members, question for applicant? Seeing no questions for applicant, let's go into committee. Any discussion, or do we have a motion? Mr. Allison.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I'm happy to bring a motion to approve the application. I think that single-story addition on the rear is sensible in to its context and doesn't contribute to any overbuild or overmassing on the site. I also think it doesn't present any issues with respect to adjacencies. So for those reasons, happy to move forward a motion to approve the application without condition.
Okay, motion to approve, Ms. Casson, second. All those in favor? It is approved with no objections. On to the next item, which is item number 21. Number 21 concerns 94 Parkview Avenue. It's a proposal to construct a new dwelling. There's 4, 20, did I miss 20? Oh, it was wishful thinking. Okay. Item 20 is 255 Parkview Avenue to construct a new 2-story dwelling, 9 variances. Arborist report, forestry report, two forestry reports, 1 letter of support, a previous decision, a staff report that recommends that variances number 7 and 8 be refused. And the variances include a non-encroaching rear yard platform, a non-encroaching rear yard canopy, proposed non-encroaching rear yard 2nd-story balcony, proposed platform encroachment, proposed canopy encroachment, proposed front yard canopy encroachment, proposed front yard canopy encroachment beyond the platform, proposed main wall height, proposed building length. All right, so this is item 20. We have no public objections. We have an agent, and I'm presuming that given that we have a staff report that recommended refusal, we'll have to hear from the applicant, right? The panel members have not made up their mind yet. So let's turn to the applicant. If you state applicant's agent, please state your name, state your address, tell us if you've made any changes, and then get into your presentation. You've got
Good
2
afternoon.
minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. My name is Ivy Evangelista. I'm here on behalf of the owners of 255 Parkview Avenue. Actually, the staff report that is in receipt is only recommending refusal should I not be making the changes. And I did, as you have in front of you, you do have a list, you do have the modified plans. And you do have the modified list of minor variances, which outlines that we have removed variance number 3, which is the proposed encroaching rear yard second story balcony. That has been removed. We have reduced variance number 7. We did work very carefully with planning staff, and we have wholeheartedly reduced variance number 7 to 32.9%. At variance number 8 has now been, the overall height has been reduced to 8.50%. And variance number 9 is now reduced to 17.33%. Now, variance number, I just would like to discuss coverage briefly. The reason why we are asking for a coverage of 32.9%, if staff, you saw on my submission, if you go to page 4, my apologies, page 5, you'll notice that we do have a rear deck. And on the rear deck, if you could just turn to, exactly. So if you see, and what I've done is I've actually outlined the house itself and the rear deck at the rear. So the deck is excavated, and because it is, my apologies, I thought I had. Because it is excavated, it counts to length and coverage. And you'll see from the rendering that I've included, just to give you a better idea of how it would look, you'll see that underneath the deck it is excavated. So it does count to coverage. However, the house itself is 31% coverage. So now we're just going to kind of jump back to the length of the house, which is on page 4. And that includes, so what we've done is this particular house, it's a flat roof house. This was in front of committee back in 2019, but the house, the property has sold since then. And this is now the new owner that prefers this style of home, which actually, you know, does have a lot of articulation on the front, so it doesn't, you know, it doesn't contribute to massing. You'll see that the architectural feature above the front door, that is one of the encroachments. You'll also notice the stairs and the small knee wall that encompasses the stairs. That also too is part of the encroachment into the front yard. So, and the length itself, so the actual length of the house is 15.73. The 17.33 is taken from the front encroachment to the rear, the end of the rear deck, but from the front main wall where the garage is to the rear main wall, we have a length of 15.73%. That being said, we have satisfied planning's recommendations. Planning is now, as you saw through their report, Ms. Cavelli, she is in support of the application as it is with the changes, which you now have in front of you. That being said, this is one of the only homes on this street that has not been rebuilt. This area has undergone vast reinvestment, redevelopment of the neighborhood. I respectfully submit that the variances are desirable for the appropriate development of the land, and it enables the redevelopment of the subject property while reinforcing the existing physical character of the neighborhood. As you see from other photos, this area has different types of homes, peaks, flat roof, slanted roof, transitional, traditional. So with respect, I do submit that the application that you do have in front of you is respectful and a form of intensification that does meet the 4 tests, and it is in keeping with the purpose and intent of the OP and ZBL.
Thanks.
And I am open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Questions, panel members, of the applicant? No questions. Let's go into committee. We have any discussion or a motion on this? Looking for a motion from somebody on the application.
I'm happy to bring a
Mr.
motion. I think this is a good application. I did have a slight concern with the side main wall height. I'm sure you're not surprised, Mr. Chair, but I do see that the applicant has been working with community planning to make some improvements, which I think bring it in line with the 4 tests. So I'd like to bring a motion to approve the application as modified. And I will just, yes. So variance 1, 2 will remain. Variance 3 is removed. Variance
Correct.
4, 5, and 6 remains. Variance 7 is reduced to 32.9, and variance 8 is reduced to 8.5 meters. I also note that there is an urban forestry with this condition, standard condition number 2.
Yeah, there's also.
Oh, let me go back to that. Apologize. Moving a little quick here. There is a variance number 9 on here.
Did I miss the 9?
I might have missed the.
Maybe I missed that too.
It's off. It's not included on the.
The applicant stated.
On the applicant's amended. I was going off of that, but yes, thank you. I do notice there is a variance
Oh, yes.
for the building length, and that if I'm not mistaken, that was amended as
9
well.
variances. Yeah, I got the
Yeah,
9.
17.33.
There's
33.
other thing,
Correct.
and there is there has to be a condition. Don't forget the condition planning condition, which is that the proposal be developed in accordance with the front north elevation drawings submitted to the committee adjustment on March 14th.
That's correct. Yes. So community planning and urban forestry number 2.
Yeah, that was. But then there's attachment 1 to the staff report, right? The one
Which
I-
staff?
There, I think I don't know. There's the draw attachment to
Front elevation.
Yeah, so you want to
In community, yeah. Subject to the recommendations of community planning, which the modified application is in line with what was in the community planning staff report. So,
Yeah, the planning.
There's an-
Planning. So if you look at the staff report from planning.
I note that. Yeah,
It raised those 2 issues that I identified that the applicant has now said they've complied with to comply with the, they've raised 3 key issues. The first 2 being those reductions, which they've now done. And then the other one is, if you read the planning staff report, it says that the proposal be developed in accordance with the front north elevation drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment on March 14, attached as attachment 1 to this report. I think you've got it. but
yeah. You noted it earlier, so I thought it was covered in my motion. But yes, thank you for catching that. So yeah, it would include the recommendation to attach the front north elevation drawing as well.
Okay, so we got a motion. We have a seconder.
Yes, I second that.
Okay, so got the, let me just find my place here. Okay, so Mr. Allison, Mr. Fazeli seconded it, and all those in favor, it's passed without objection. Thank you, congratulations. And now we are on to 21, which I tried to do before, and I was stymied. 94 Parkview, proposal to construct a new dwelling, 4 variances. We've got an arborist report, a forestry report, which is requesting a deferral. Got 2 letters of objection. We've got a staff report, which is requesting a removal of variance 2 and a removal of variance 4. And the 4 variances requested are for a proposed rear deck, proposed stairs, proposed lot coverage, and proposed number of stories at 3. So this is 2021. check my, 21, where we have 3 area residents and an agent. So we're going to turn it over to the applicant's agent, and the agent could please state their name, state their address, and tell us if they have made any changes to the application. All right, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. My name is Danielle Bilodeau from Justin Cherry Design Studio at 17 Point Street in Barrie. So we were originally requesting 4 minor variances, but after an updated zoning notice was issued from the City of Toronto on March 7th, we're now only requesting 2 variances, as 2 of them were actually not required. So the 2 remaining variances that we're asking for are for lot coverage of 33%, where 30% is the max, and then one for the projection of the rear deck. That will be 3.2 meters from the rear wall, where 2.5 is the maximum.
Through you, Mr. Chair,
and
she has
after
to tell
speaking
us
with
which one she's removing.
Yeah,
Please.
just refer to them by number so that we've got it clear, please.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. So
you
we
are-
will be
so you are
removing.
amending this. Basically, what you're saying is you are amending it. And did you state your address? I think you did. It's in Barrie. We got that? Okay. So
Yes,
just tell
17
us.
Point Street in Barrie.
Yeah, tell us clearly which ones you're removing.
Okay, sorry about that. So we are agreeing with staff to remove variance number 2 for the proposed stair width and variance number 4 for the proposed number of stories.
Okay. All right. You did amend variance number 1, did you, madam? It was previously 3.3 from the rear and 2.
Okay.
And 2.14 above. Is it still that, or have you changed it? That's for variance number 1.
Yeah, number 1, I think it projects 3.2 meters.
3.2, okay.
But I don't believe that we were requested to amend that, so we
did.
kept 1 and 2.
So you kept variance 1 and variance.
Sorry, 1 and 3.
But did you modify them at all? Just so I know.
No.
Okay, so you kept them as they were in your application.
Yes.
1 and 3. Okay, good. All right, so go ahead with your presentation.
So yeah, after speaking with staff and specifically Julia Cavelli, we were happy to hear that they had no comments or concerns with our application in regards to our 2 remaining variances. So yeah, we're still asking for the lot coverage increase and the rear deck projection.
All right. Do you have anything else that you want?
And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions by panel members? No. All right. Do we have members of the public who want to speak? I have.
We do. We have someone in person here.
All right, go ahead. Would you like me to step forward? Yeah, there's a podium you can come to. State your name, state your address, and.
Sure. Howard Goldstein, owner 96 Parkview. Immediately to the east, I can advise committee that I have some experience in this process as a sometime developer builder. I'm not opposed to development, but I'm dumbfounded, not so much by the variances, although my lawyer might speak to those, but by the concept in general. The flipping of the driveway is bizarre, and I'm astounded that staff has no concerns with it. It requires a new curb cut, the removal of 2 healthy blue spruce trees. It ruins the whole ecology. Many squirrels and creatures have lived there since I bought the house. Further, I have great concerns. I bought my house at 96 for the large tree. It has a massive root network, and maybe that's one of the reasons why urban forestry has some concerns to defer. But the craziest thing is the impacts. So where the driveway is currently situated, it really has 0 impact on anyone. The house next to it on the west has its entrance on Kenneth. And where that driveway abuts is basically to an edge of the house that's not generally enjoyed by anybody. Now they want to flip it and move it right next to my front door and take out 2 healthy trees. There's no reason that this lot, I'm a builder, could not be developed with even maybe perhaps the same massing in a more sensitive way using the existing curb cut. So the impacts in this bizarre desire to flip the house that is not necessary from a design point of view is having massive impacts on both me and the ecology, the nature of the streetscape, because as we get on in years, many trees are starting to come down along urban forestry is identifying more mature trees on Parkview. So there's just no reason to get rid of these beautiful trees. There's no reason for them not to, develop the lot in a very nice way. I just don't understand the need for why the designer decided to create greater impacts for me and for the neighborhood. So that my major concern that I'll speak to, and council will speak to something else. The other thing is too, I think it's poor form. I know when I'm bringing applications, I always speak to the neighbors, and we could have discussed this earlier. It seemed like I played no part in it. Whenever I do a development, I always talk to the abutting neighbors and try to reach ad edems. But that's my particular point, is I would personally have a lot less objection if they stuck to developing within the existing curb cut, not removing those trees. It's totally doable and has much less impact on anyone. Again, I'll ask committee to pay attention to where the existing driveway is and what little impact it has on their neighbors to the west because of the situation of the front door on Kenneth. And those would be my personal comments.
Thank you. Panel members, question to resident? No questions? Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, next speaker. We have speakers on the line. Anybody left to speak?
Good afternoon, members of the committee. Just confirming you can hear me okay?
Yes, so please state your name, state your address, and then go ahead.
Yes, for the record, my name is Matthew Lakatos Hayward, spelled Lakatos-Hayward. My address is 333 Bay Street, Unit 3400, Toronto, Ontario, and I'm counsel to Mr. Goldstein, the owner of 96 Parkview. Members of the committee, I won't repeat too much of what our client said, but I did want to just delve into a little bit more of why this proposal does not meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act and should be refused by the committee. As our client noted, the proposal will move an existing driveway that will kill 3 healthy spruce trees, including 1 city-owned tree. And these privately owned trees may in fact be boundary trees as defined in the within the Forestry Act. Just quickly, members of the committee, I want to discuss several official plan policies and explain why this proposal does not meet the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Specifically looking at variance 3 lot coverage. Members of the committee, as you know, policy 4.1.5 requires any proposal for development to respect and reinforce the existing physical character of the neighborhood. And the physical character of the geographic neighborhood requires an examination of both the immediate context and the broader context. And typically, as I'm sure you're aware, best practice is to look at what other previous approvals have done and determine whether or not the variance falls within the most frequently occurring form of development that occurs. Members of the committee, the applicant has provided no details about how any of these variances respect or reinforce the existing physical character of the neighborhood. And what I can tell you is that at least in the immediate context alone, I'm not aware of any proposal where a lot coverage variance of 33% has been sought. There are a few I've seen from my review, but none reaching that scale. And for that reason alone, members of the committee, that variance does not meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act. But further, as my client has already said, these proposals will have a negative impact on our client. The destruction of healthy and mature trees is something that the official plan specifically says should be avoided in multiple policies, which I've set out in my letter, And I would note those are policies 3.1.1.14, 3.1.3.1 sub E, 3.1.3.3, and 3.1.3.4, and 3.4.1 sub D. The creation of a new curb cut, the relocation of a driveway, reducing the urban canopy during a climate crisis are all goals that should not be considered minor before this committee, and it is and this is recognized by the fact that urban forestry has likewise expressed concerns with the removal of these trees, and we, for those reasons, substantially agree with urban forestry. We request that the committee refuse the application to date, or in the alternative, defer the application as requested by urban forestry so that the applicant can reconsider its proposal. Thank you very much for your consideration. I'm open to any questions that you might have.
I sort of have some questions. So, we're only dealing, they've already removed 2 of the 4 variances. So I'm having trouble understanding why 2 variances, although I just think you've overstated your case, right? Like, I think you've overstated what the, what urban forestry is saying, in the sense they are asking for a deferral. I'll admit that, but they've also provided for conditions. And the other thing is that the staff report recommended certain changes. They've made them, and they only are left with 2 variances. So I don't know. How do you answer that? I think you've overstated your case. Have you overstated your case? And if, well, maybe it's rhetorical, but I think you've overstated your case.
Mr. Chair, we have one more speaker online.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair,
Do you
want me to answer that?
Yeah, sure. Why don't you answer that? Like, I'm still not sold on the arguments you made, although you made them quite articulately. Do you have anything more you want to say about that?
The only thing, Mr. Chair, I would say is, there's a difference of, I guess there's a difference of opinion of whether I've overstated it or not. But I would just reiterate, notwithstanding the number of variances that have been there. A proposal can come forward with 1 variance. It can come forward with 13 variances. The number of proposals and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, the Ontario Land Tribunal, and the courts have all said, it's not the number of variances, it's not the scale of variances that matter. What matters is an assessment of the 4 tests in each circumstance. And in this case, Mr. Chair, at least for the lot coverage,
Right.
My position on with respect to the physical character of the neighborhood is not met. Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. So the last resident, please state your name, state your address, state your comments within 5 minutes, please.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, perfect. My name is Cheryl Lynn Veteze, and I am the owner and live at 110 Parkview Avenue, just a few streets down. A few houses down from the applicant. So I am familiar with the house, and I've also submitted a letter. And I have listened to the previous speakers, and I agree with them 100%, because those are the concerns that I also raised about the trees, the 2 older trees that are there, the 2 pines, and also the city tree that are on the front lawn. And I also requested that they move the location of the garage because it is. There is a garage already there on the house, and using that garage space would minimize the disturbance to those trees. And those trees are important for the value and the value and the beauty of living on Parkview. I've lived on Parkview for 40 years, and I've seen a lot of the loss of our tree canopy, and they are important for the existing urban wildlife. So, and I'd also like to point out, as I've mentioned, that there has been confusion as to the height of the house, because in the application, it says 3 stories, and there was no elevation that was provided for the house. I don't mean to be boring, but I do think that it's important that the information be provided be accurate. And it wasn't that, and that is not the case. So, so I certainly think that, I also ask that it not be approved, or that these concerns be accommodated, so that the driveway, existing driveway be used, and that those trees be preserved.
All right.
And the height be 2 stories, in keeping with the existing stories of the houses already there.
All right, thank you. Questions, panel members? All right, back to the applicant. Rebuttal. Please keep the rebuttal strictly to those comments that were just raised by residents.
Sure, I will try to keep this brief. I'll start with the 3rd story. I guess there was confusion during the application process, but we have cleared it up with staff that it is a 2-story home. So it goes with the neighborhood, it complements the neighborhood. I understand the concerns for the tree removal. I understand that they're mature. And we did read the report from the Urban Forestry report, and they state that the impacts don't directly relate to the specific variances at hand. So we're hoping to move forward with the minor variance application today and address any tree concerns in the future. We understand that the tree removal may be denied, but we are prepared to give creative ideas on figuring out a solution for that. Because we understand the importance of the tree canopy, and we definitely don't want to disrupt that too much if we can avoid it.
All right. Mr. Allison, question?
Question for the applicant. This is a new building. They're demolishing the house that's there. You're working from a blank slate. Why relocate the driveway where the mature trees are? I don't understand. I mean, why not take the exact proposal and just, I mean, you could mirror it essentially on the lot and preserve all the trees. What drove you to clear cut the front lawn and start from scratch here?
I think just during the design process, the flow of the way the rooms came together, the flow of where the garage came into play, this is where the driveway ended up. But I did speak with Justin of Justin Ferry, and if this helps everybody's situation, if this helps you approve this, we are open to flipping the design. So the variance request would still be the same, but completely mirror the design.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful proposal. I don't have any issues necessarily with what's being proposed, but just removing the 3 mature trees where this design could easily just be mirrored, I think would make, so I know we're late through the process
I
right now,
wish
but
we weren't to come all this way to just get to a potential deferral, but Madam, would you be willing to defer your application and bring it back another day?
We would, of course, prefer to have this approved if there aren't any major concerns. If exactly what we're proposing is being mirrored, if that requires us to get deferred, then I guess that's what we'll have to go with.
Well, I'll look to staff on that. I mean, how do we approve a application that's supposed to be flipped? Like, that's gonna.
You can't. So it's a matter of two issues here. The variances would stay the same, but there's nothing that prevents the applicant from still submitting the same plan you see today to buildings, and a building permit would be issued. You have no plans with a flipped driveway that you can tie the applicant to, which would be helpful.
Okay, so Madam, I'm going to just suggest to you, if you're willing to flip it, then why don't you just defer it, and then we'll deal with it another time, because otherwise I'm thinking you might get a refusal here on the basis of the fact that it should be flipped. So would you accept deferral of the matter?
Yes, we definitely don't want refusal, so deferral sounds good.
So that means we don't have to go back to the, we can just issue our deferral
You could issue your, you can issue your deferral. Just make sure you state a reason, or the applicant states a reason for the
We
record.
don't have to go back to the residents on that. Okay.
Mr. Chair, through you, I'm happy to bring a motion to defer the.
Let's come back into committee, because
Okay.
we're still out of committee. We're back into committee. Over to Mr. Allison. Motion?
Thank you. Getting ahead of myself.
Okay.
I'm happy to bring a motion to defer the application to address the concerns brought up by the neighbors, specifically with respect to the mature trees at the front of the property. And to work with urban forestry, because they've also requested deferral as well.
Yeah, urban forestry, to satisfy the urban forestry request.
And for good reason.
Yeah, okay.
I
Okay.
second that.
Okay, so we've got a motion on the floor, Mr. Allison. We've got a seconder, Mr. Marziari. All those in favor of the deferral motion? Okay, so it's deferred. Thank you. Thank you for applicant and for members of the public for dealing with this.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Okay, so now we've got I think only one mid-afternoon one to deal with, which is, what is that? We've deferred 22. We're on to 23. 23 and 51 Rollscart. It's a proposal to construct a new two-story dwelling with a rear deck and walkout. It's 8 variances. We have before us a number of documents, including an arborist report, a forestry report, a staff report. The 8 variances include proposed front yard setback, proposed canopy, front yard landscaping, proposed rear yard setback, proposed lot coverage, proposed platform encroachment, proposed stairs, proposed front yard landscaping. Just to confirm before we get going, the staff report has indicated that there is agreement to eliminate variance number 3, or modify variance number 5, and eliminate variance number 8. All right, so we have before us one person, just the agent registered. Now I turn to my fellow panel members. There is no objection to it, but there have been modifications. Do you feel you need a full presentation, or should we see how it goes? It's up to you, panel members. Do you want a full presentation? Do you want to just ask questions? What do you like from this applicant? Full presentation? Some presentation. Go, okay. Some presentation might not need to be full, but given that there have been there may be questions. So, Mr. Applicant, agent, please state your name, state your address. Please explain the modifications to because I think there are some, and take it from there. You've got up to 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, member of the committee. My name is Mehran Haidari, 1090 Don Mills Road, Unit 506, North Circle, Ontario. So yeah, we had the conversation with the planning and also regarding the transportation, and we are okay with the recommendation and request by the planning, and we are removing variance number 3, variance number 8, also because we removing the unexcavated deck on the back, so we don't need the variance number 4 as well, so I'm eliminating the variance number 4 as well, and variance number 5, lot coverage changing to 35% as the planning request, and also I need to explain about variance number 1. There is no change on variance number 1. The only required front yard setback is just the front part in the middle bump out from the main building, and the front yard setback is keep the same of the bylaw 9 meter on the side walls, and also the variance number 2 is just the canopy at top of the platform, the porch, that is because of the decorative stuff that is always variance that we have, and also variance number 6, again it's because of the front part of the house that is bumped out from the front yard setback, and the length, depth of the front porch is always adding to the request front yard setback variation that we have already. And also, variance number 7 is the width of the staircase. That is always a variance for the big house. This variance, this bylaw is that doesn't differentiate between the big land or the small land. All of the land is this width, and so we are having the wider stairs, the big lot that we are facing. And everything is fine with me. If you have a question, I'm more than happy to answer.
Have questions of the agent from the panel? Any questions? Any? So let's. No, sorry, we don't have any questions for you. Let's go into committee. Do we have any discussion in committee? Do we have a motion in committee?
Did the applicant note there was a variance to number 4?
Well,
It's being removed. Okay, just under there.
Yes.
So again, we've got to do something with this. So can we put a motion on or somebody discuss it? Otherwise that forces me to bring a motion. I'd rather not as the chair.
There's quite a bit of material here, so I'm just getting
Okay, well, take your
organized.
time. Take your time.
Mr. Chair.
So number 3 and 4 and 8 has been removed, right? Just confirming.
Correct.
Number 5, I think, is being revised.
Modified. Yeah.
To 35%.
Okay, I'm gonna put a motion on the floor to approve. You can discuss it or second it. I know you need some time on it, but I'll put that motion out there. You can disapprove it or somebody can second it. The reason I'm doing that is because it appears that, first of all, there's nobody here in opposition. Second of all, there were staff reports, there have been agreements on those. Some have been eliminated, some have been modified. It appears that staff have been through it, so I'm satisfied too. But I need a seconder of that motion.
I do note there's some something in the transportation report as well.
Oh, is there? Did I
Yep.
miss that? Maybe I
No objections, but they're
conditions. Okay, 2 conditions in the.
yeah. They want a revision of the site plan. Okay, I think they're pretty standard. And forestry, nothing.
Okay, so subject to the, let me, I have to find that report.
The transportation condition 1, I think, has been met by 8 being removed.
Okay, so we still have more conditions on transportation?
Just to mention the site plan.
Just to be in substantial compliance with this?
Within the public right-of-way.
Okay. I'm looking for that.
The other one's advisory with respect to urban forestry.
May I add something?
So, Mr. Chair, I will second your motion.
So we got I've got my motion and Ms. Casson has seconded it. But do we get it? Were we clear on what those conditions were? Got it? Staff have that? Subject to the conditions? Okay.
Yep.
All right. So All right. Those in favor? All right, we're done. Now we're on to the 4 o'clock session.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to take a break. How long should we break for? Nah, I think we need more than 10. Take a 15-minute break. Take a 15-minute break. Thank you.
It was a big proposal and a lot of changes to a lot of things. Yeah, no, I didn't. I just trying to go through all the.
I hate to do that. There were times that I felt like doing that, other times, even the one where we ended up approving it. But I just want
One's already been separated.
Oh,
Perfect, right? In that case, I think.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I'm not sure if it comes, because we dealt with it or not, whether we have to deal with it as we, because he can read out all that stuff again. Or forward.
Yeah. I'm gonna send it to you today.
Good.
Yeah, the one that was converted had a, is this Billy?
Hi, Sam.
I wonder why he didn't.
This one? Oh, they're asking for forgiveness?
No, they just wanted water driveway on their opposed to the single drive, like the single garage, right?
Maybe. I don't have a problem with that. Because everybody got like great one. I could think it's very.
You know, I actually will do that after the first year.
It almost.
It's a little easier landscape than just other projects.
But if you're not, yeah, and if you're not, if you're not reducing enough to stop, like taking the front yard. Sorry, you're meeting your software.
Yeah. Because, yeah. They're not in this case.
They're not what?
They were beating this up.
Oh, they're not.
No.
Is this Greenville?
Yeah. It's out.
I don't have it.
It's not that far off. But I just, you don't have to sit the over there.
I know you don't. You gotta move to North York, where you go. I'll take you on the drive.
The wasabi may be a little bit different.
But the bag. I don't have it on Facebook.
No, that was.
corner for me, so let's just take it a little bit after that, just my traffic will be good on the way home.
I think we'll do that before 6.
Okay, 6 is fine. You know what, I say 6:30.
Ready? We'll see.
We'll see.
I know I'm thinking of what the
You're gonna be like, wait, the motion, I gotta go.
I'm the guy that say like,
All living sisters. Okay, so. As soon as I see like 6:50, and I see him talking about.
I was quiet at TBY yesterday.
Oh, really?
Get motivated. Yeah, there was an applicant, people like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He was saying everything I had in my notes, so.
Perfect.
Great. Yeah. What?
Words canceled for board lines.
Really?
Yeah, I got an email. He's saying that, maybe that wasn't the best idea.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you. Massive mistake he's going.
I mean, I can understand where he's getting pushed in like Mississauga or.
Yeah.
But like downtown Toronto?
And the ones we thought were great. Like our province, good places. He's siding with the NIMBYs.
It's a massive mistake for your Gordon's just know.
And we know that how many are looking right now, like people probably coming in for.
Not a lot, not as easy.
No.
I had one in the works. Yeah, but
For rental.
you know,
Sign it.
That's your question? The second egress just needs.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come to me. It's gonna take me a while to get there. Take me a while to get there. The schedule that you have in the G drive, that is already incorporated the time that I'm not.
I was gonna ask you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, so I see the same, but I wanna make sure.
Okay, yeah.
So take a look at that.
Yeah.
It's not hard to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, okay, so one, that's that. Okay.
Yeah, I did, so I did change it.
But just
That's why
confirm
you
it.
should.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And so, this is what
Yeah.
under construction.
Yeah, really. Buildings in their downtown, but nicer than Toronto. There's some land I was supposed to like landmark.
Oh, yeah.
She's done so well.
It's like trying to find a couch that's gonna fit. Bed, I've seen some of those spaces that all look the same. They are like. And there's some other. The public realm is. Yeah, it's notable when you know exactly. So there's some good designs out there. But they kind of make it's pretty good.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the late afternoon session. Okay, welcome back, everyone. This is the late afternoon session. Committee of Adjustment, City of Toronto. My name, Larry Swartz. I'm the chair. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. I'd like to introduce the panel members today. On On the left, Mr. Fazeli, Ms. Casson. Far right, Mr. Allison. Near right, Mr. Marziari. Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that apply to property, considers permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and considers consent to sever property to create new lots. Land acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. It is now the home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. This is a hybrid format. The Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in hybrid, in-person, virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person. Others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, which is an online digital platform. Meetings are also streamed on the City of Toronto Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone, and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. In terms of receiving a copy of a decision, people attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to TLAB or, in some limited circumstances, to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies, as defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decisions of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. I will call each item in order listed on the agenda. When an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant may proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, the applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. Committee may ask questions or take the matter into committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5 minutes. A presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept materials at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we call on speakers in the hearing room, then those participating through WebEx. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken to a committee for a decision. So, panel members, staff, are there any declarations of interest for any items? Seeing none. Seeing none. Then we deal with deferral requests. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, Deputy Secretary Treasurer.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have one deferral request this afternoon. It's for number 25, 35 Ridge Hill.
2535 Ridge Hill, okay. So, so we'll deal with that one first. Let's, so 25, that is 35 Ridge Hill. Okay, so let's just open it up. We don't have anybody appearing other than the applicant agent. Do we need to hear from the applicant agent? Anybody want to hear from him on his request for deferral, or could we just deal with that?
Well, we need to unmute the agent. He needs
Yeah.
to introduce himself and give us the reasons for the deferral.
We need to hear his reasons for deferral?
We do. It needs to be recorded in the minutes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, fine, let's go. Let's put forward the applicant's agent. Please, so applicant's agent, please state your name and your address and your reasons for the deferral.
Excuse me, good afternoon. I'm Drew Laszlo, agent for the owner. My address is 193 Rowe Avenue. The reason for the deferral request today really is from a lot of us, as you guys can all see there, as the committee members can see, a lot of kind of back and forth and a lot of memorandums and letters from the transportation department. And there's a bit of history there, just in a nutshell. Permits and enforcement recommended refusal in a notice on March 14th. Then transportation recommended a deferral on March 15th. Then permits and enforcement withdrew their request for a refusal, but they would still like to see a deferral. So as a result, I'm requesting a deferral so we can talk to all these parties involved and redesign and get everybody on board before coming back.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions from panel? No, let's go into committee. Like a motion for deferral from.
Mr. Chair, I would move forward the motion to defer
Pardon?
this application as per. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Yes, as per applicants explained that he needs more time to address the transportation comments.
Okay, so we got a motion, Mr. Fazeli, seconder, Ms. Casson, those in favor, matter is deferred. Thank you to the applicant. So let's get on with the rest of the afternoon session. Got item number 24, that's 14 Southgate Avenue. It's to construct a rear addition and interior alterations. We've got a forestry report. We've got a letter of support. We've got a few other documents. We have 5 requests for variances. Proposed minimum building west side, proposed front yard setback, proposed building length, proposed lot coverage, proposed west side yard setback. Okay, so, pardon? We don't need a presentation. Nobody needs a presentation from the panel members. So we do have
The agent is in person today?
Oh, the agent is in person. Okay, so you've heard us. We don't really need your presentation. You can
No problem.
keep it brief. We'll ask questions if we feel we need
Okay.
to ask them, but go ahead.
Eric Kirschenblatt, 431 Fairlawn Avenue, the agent for the applicant.
Thank
And
Nothing to say?
We've done basically what the rest of the street has
Okay.
been doing.
All right, so any discussion, or can we put a motion on the floor? Mr. Allison, motion on the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this is a good application. I think the variances are minor in nature and largely stem from the utilization of the existing built form of the site. And for that reason, I'd be happy to put a motion forward to approve the subject application with a condition noted by Urban Forestry. Their standard condition number 2.
Okay, so motion with standard condition by Urban Forestry.
Second that.
Marziari, seconder. Those in favor? It's approved unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. On to our next matter. Okay, so we have, our next matter would be item number 26. Item number 26 deals with 6 Roycrest Avenue. To construct a new dwelling, 11 variances. This includes documents before us such as arborist report, ravine report. We have TRCA report. We have signatures of support. This deals with 11 variances. I'll summarize them quickly. Proposed front yard setback, proposed rear yard deck, which is distance from lot line, proposed east side yard setback, west side yard setback. Number of stories, it's 3. Proposed platform encroachment into rear yard setback, proposed platform at or above second story, proposed height of the front exterior main walls, proposed height of rear exterior main walls, proposed platform encroaches the rear yard setback, proposed building setback from the shoreline hazard. So again, this is 20, find this on my documents. 26, so we've got the applicant and the agent for the applicant. We've got 2 people. We don't have any opposition. Question for panel members, is there a need to hear from the applicant? Panel members?
Currently, there are some revisions to the application made by the applicant.
So there,
We
so
wanna
if you
point
could,
those.
yeah, so Mr. Applicant, before you get going, and when you do start, state your name, state your address, and focus in on the revisions of your application. I don't think we need a lot of detail, but just the revisions, if you focus in on that, and you can say whatever you please, but the focus would be requested is for the modifications.
So good afternoon, Mr. Chair and fellow committee members. My name is Roshan Thurgan-Assumpter, and I'm planner at Design Plan Services located at 900 The East Mall in Toronto, and I'm the authorized agent representing the owners for the subject property. So the proposal is for a new dwelling, and I will note that I did provide a detailed justification letter regarding the variances. And we have consulted with planning staff, and they expressed some concerns. However, we revised the proposal to address the concerns, and they have confirmed that they are now satisfied. So the revisions pertain to variance number 2. So the variance has been revised to eliminate the portion that relates to the front porch only. And variance number 7 has been revised. The proposed platform at or above the second story, which is at the rear, has been reduced to 9 square meters. So our clients have also consulted extensively with neighbors and obtained signatures and support, which has been submitted to the committee. We also submitted an application to RNFP and have confirmed that they have received the application as indicated in the report. Further, we consulted with the TRCA, and they have provided support in principle for the proposed dwelling and have expressed no concerns or objections as indicated in their report. So it is my professional opinion that this proposal fits in with both the existing and planned context for the neighborhood, is consistent with the redevelopment trends along Roycrest Avenue and the broader neighborhood. And for these reasons, it is my professional opinion that the proposal represents good planning and meets the 4 tests under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, and I'll be happy to answer any other questions at this time. Thank you.
All right, panel members, questions of the applicant? Yes, Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a clarifying question concerning variance number 2. Is it being modified or is it being removed altogether?
So through you, Mr. Chair, it's being modified to just remove the portion that relates to the front porch.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Further questions from panel? No further questions. Yes.
Is there any change to the site plan then, as a result of the modifications that were made?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we did provide revised site plans to the committee.
Okay. Can we just pull those up there? Is there any objection to tying any potential approval to the elevation drawings? Just seeing the condition of the side main wall height and how it's deployed, I guess, with the application. I just want to ensure that it only pertains to that section at the center of the house, where the peak is broken and then it drops. And I think initially I had some concern with that, but I see it only relates to that section.
Yes.
So is there any concern tying elevation drawings to any potential approval?
Through you, Mr. Chair, that's okay.
It's reasonable?
Yeah, it's reasonable.
Substantially in accordance with?
Okay, further questions? No? Mr. Allison, back to you. Maybe you want to bring a motion?
Sure, happy to bring a motion to approve the subject application. As I noted, I did have a little bit of concern initially with the main wall height, but it's more of an architectural feature that kind of pertains to breaking the peak and dropping it. So I'll move forward a motion to approve the application. I would like to tie it to the elevation drawings. All 4, actually. Yep. And I don't know if there's any concern whether or not we need to have a site plan included, but I think I'm satisfied with the elevations. So yeah, that's my motion.
All right.
The revisions.
Thank you. Yes, as well the revisions. So number 2 is going to be the portion of number 2 that relates to the front yard porch of 1.2 meters is going to be removed. So the variance only pertains to the rear yard deck. And variance number 7, as noted, is a reduction of the second story platform to a maximum of 9 meters square.
Okay. Do we have everything we need from the staff? Got all that? Okay, okay. Mr. Marziari has seconded it. All in favor? It's unanimous. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members.
On to our next one, which is number 27. That is 26 Mallard Road. Proposal for expansion of a private school to add a new second floor addition to the southeast corner. Proposal is expansion of a legal non-conforming use of an existing private school. Related site plan approval application was 23158372 NNY 16SA, and that's currently under review. There's one variance here. There's an arborist report. There's a two transportation reports. This is item number 27. We have the applicant, agent registered. There's no opposition. Question, panel, do you want to hear from this applicant? I see some head shaking. I'm taking that as we do not need to hear from the applicant, but the applicant has a right to have us hear them, or they can just briefly summarize quickly what they have here in their application in hopefully a few short sentences. Are they on the line? And if they are, they should state their name, their address, and also if there are any changes to their application. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, Adrian was actually going to speak first for this.
Okay, well, somebody should speak. You've got 5 minutes, and we don't require you to speak, but somebody should speak at least giving your name, your address, any
Oh, yeah, we
achievements.
have, this is Raymond Jumba from SGL Planning and Design. I'm the agent. We just wanted to reiterate that we've worked with the applicant, that we've worked with the city to reduce the variances. As you noted, there's only one, and it's a permission seeking to expand a legal non-conforming use. So, thank you.
Driveway width. Okay, got it. So any questions to the applicant? Back to committee. We have a motion. Mr. Marziari, I see you
To you, Mr.
itching to make a motion.
Yeah, I'd be happy to make a motion. This is a very straightforward application. It's just one variance and the transportation has no concern. So I'd like to make a motion to approve with no condition.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
I second that.
Mr. Fazeli, all right, motion on the floor to approve. Those in favor? Congratulations, thank you, panel, it's unanimous, and the approval is granted. Congratulations to the applicant, and we're on to number 28. Number 28 is 67 Glen Park Avenue to widen the front driveway width. It's one variance. There are previous decisions on this. There is a transportation report. This is for a driveway width of 5.1 meters. It was approved by Committee of Adjustment decision, A0395/21NY. And so 28, we've got the agent for the applicant. There's nobody in opposition. Panel members, do you want to hear from this agent? I see lots of heads shaking, so we do not need to hear from you, agent, but it is your right to have us hear you or to just make a very brief comment. By comment, you should state your name, state your address, and state if there's any changes to your application. But the panel members have indicated we do not need a presentation from you, or at least certainly no full presentation. So go ahead, please.
Good afternoon again. I'm Drew Laszlo, agent for the owner, and no real comments, just to say that transportation has no objections, and we conform fully to the front yard landscaping requirements. So I feel this is pretty straightforward. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Questions from panel members? No questions. Into committee. Motion on the floor. I see Mr. Allison just itching to make, and I see
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Fazeli itching to.
Oh, Mr. Fazeli, go for it.
Well, I think he was going to second it because he was just, but you know what? He's so keen. He's going to be the one that is bringing the application to approve, and you are going to be the seconder.
That may be.
Okay, are we okay with that?
That's fine, yeah.
All right. Panel members, all those in favor? Or any comment?
Hold on, I got to bring the motion first.
Well, yeah.
So I'll bring a motion.
I'm just so excited by this. I just
this
to the conclusion.
Relatively straightforward. I do note that the driveway does taper, which I appreciate, and that the part of the hardscaping in the front also accommodates connection to the front porch. Most importantly, I acknowledge that they are meeting their requirements for the front soft yard landscaping. So for those reasons, I'm happy to move a motion to approve the application subject to the conditions noted in the transportation services memorandum.
Okay, so I'm going to let you bring this motion. So we're confusing the heck of our staff.
I second
motion
that.
by Mr. Allison, seconded by Mr. Fazeli. Those in favor? It is unanimous, and we are on to the next item, which is 29. Congratulations to our applicant. We're on to now 29. 29 is 417 Bedford Park Avenue. It's a proposal for a rear yard ground floor deck. There's two variances. We've got before us a number of documents, arborist report, but effectively the proposal is for a rear deck that projects 5.45 meters from the rear wall nearest the west side lot line and is 1.68 meters above ground. Proposed lot coverage is 38.26%, and there's a note that the new deck and existing porch are 7.75. So this is 29. We have an applicant agent. We have no parties in opposition. And the question I ask my fellow panelists is, do you want to hear from this applicant agent? And I see heads shaking. So, Mr. Applicant Agent, we're going to put you forward in a second. You'll state your name, state your address, tell us if there's any modifications. We don't need a full presentation from you. You may speak, but I would suggest, based on the panel's request, that you keep your comments as brief as you are comfortable with. So, over to you, Mr. Applicant Agent.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jay Smith, agent for the application, 2814 Hollington Crescent. I have nothing to add. Provided a cover letter with the information you requested. I believe precedence is listed there, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you. Questions, panel members? Motion, panel members, or comments? Motion? Mr. Allison, I see you looking at me as if you want to.
I didn't want to
motion.
overstep.
So I don't
Mr.
know if that's a
Vazzelli.
look for a motion or look for a comment.
No,
It's up to you.
I'm happy to bring a motion to approve the subject application. I think the variances are minor. I do note there is a variance for lot coverage, but a good portion of that is attributed towards a new deck at the rear. And I also note that the applicant has taken a step to provide some privacy screening for the adjacent neighbors. So I recognize and appreciate that as well. I don't see any other staff conditions, so approve without condition.
Ms. Carson?
Just one comment. Could we say substantially in accordance with the site plan to
Yes,
capture
thank
the
you.
privacy screen?
Thank you, yes, which notes it on there. Now, actually, I did note that on the site plan, they do note that the height of the privacy screen to be constructed at 2 meters high. I don't know whether they need a full 2 meters, but if you want, we can add a condition of a privacy screening at 1.5 meters and then leave it up to them, or we can attach to the site plan, or both. But that actually may create a conflict, so let's just attach to the site plan. Okay, so motion to approve attached to the site plan, but without any further condition.
Okay.
Substantially in accordance with the site plan. Thank you.
Ms. Carson seconds. Those in favor? It's approved. Congratulations to our applicant. And now we are on to item 30. That's our last item of the day. Item 30 is 515 Brookdale Avenue. It's to legalize and maintain the rear deck as constructed. We have a number of documents before us. This rear deck projects 3.657 meters from the wall. Lot coverage is 34.9% of lot area, and the deck exceeds 5% of the lot area. So we do have the owner registered. There's 2 owners registered. We have the agent here. So we really only have one party. There's nobody in opposition to this. So we have 1 party, but we have 3 people who potentially could speak to this. We'll just turn it over to their agent. But before we do that, I look to my fellow panel members and ask what they would like to do. Do they need to hear this? I see heads shaking. Do I see any heads nodding? Heads shaking means to the applicant, we do not need to hear from you, but you have that right, and we will hear from you, or you can provide a sentence or 2 about your application. And so when you are handed the floor, state your name, provide your address, let us know if there's any changes since the application was put in, and preferably only one of the 3 needs to speak. But go ahead, it's up to you.
Hello, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. My name is Mehdi Hosseini from Hosseini Homes Corporation, agents on behalf of the owner for this application. And I would just like to give you guys a bit of the background that this deck was constructed back in 2014 with a contractor that my client hired. And the contractor promised the owner that they don't need to get a permit. A year later, the owner find out from his friends and family that, oh, if he doesn't have a permit, he cannot sell his house later on, or maybe it comes up to the problem. So he applied for the construction permit back in 2015. And during that time till now, they had some problems, so they didn't continue it. And then last year, they hired us to apply for this variances and get them approved. So this deck being almost more than 10 years in place, but they would like to get a permit in order to have it legally exist in their property. And I would be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Panel, questions?
Just a quick clarifying question, Mr. Chair. I just pulled up the elevation drawing and frankly, just a little bit, what is the actual deck height? Because on the, it says on the west elevation drawing, it's to scale, but there's a little bit of confusion because it notes 1.524 meters. It doesn't really kind of work out in terms of scale with the other dimensions on the drawing. So just perhaps a little bit of clarification as to what is going on there would be helpful.
Sure. Just give me 1 second. Let me just find out what that number. Just give me 1 second. Let me just see it here.
Sure. The dimensions are correct. It's the drawing's certainly not to scale.
Yes, the drawing was prepared by someone else, so that's why I have to double check this.
Not at all. Does it matter?
Zoning review. I'm just looking for that note. Because I think it was mentioned in the zoning review as well that the deck height. Trying to find that in here. See the elevation here. The deck height, I believe it's 1.524. That's what I have on the drawing. Yeah, 1.524. That's the height.
All right. Further questions, the applicant? I see Ms. Casson itching to say something, perhaps bring a motion for what? Do I have a motion? Any comments, questions? We got to go back.
My only comment with this is that drawings are.
We're into committee.
Yeah, the drawings are, frankly, a little bit deceiving. I think when you're going for an application for a deck, and you're saying it's 1.524 meters, but it just doesn't reflect that on the drawings. It's actually more akin to like 1 meter. That's my only thing. I want to make sure that what we're looking at is that what we're actually approving. So other than that, I don't have any concerns.
So, and I mean, should we just approve it, hold our nose to it? What do you want to do about it? Like we can.
No, I mean it's built. It's built already. But
it's already built, and the drawing side of it being more accurate. But we can just comment on that because we're being recorded, and
perhaps just point that
anybody who's watching this who thinks that we're going to be lax on them and they come on this, this is a one-off if we approve it, because typically you got to come here with proper drawings, like proper measurements.
I think if you're coming in for a rear deck, you want to represent what the deck is, the actual, like, you want to actually represent that appropriately.
Yeah.
Particularly the deck height, because that's something that we consider in relation to privacy screens,
exactly,
and projection and all that, right?
It's already there, but if anybody else tries to do this, then they should be listening to the fact that we may not approve it if we don't get the right dimensions. But this one stands on its own, and we don't know whether we're going to approve it or not unless I get a motion to do so, and I see Ms. Casson.
Have my mic on. I think, we don't have to worry about the drawings as much. When it gets to zoning for a permit, then they'll have to, resolve that issue. So I'm not too worried about it. The fact that nobody's complaining about it, there's no residents here. I think it's pretty minor what's being requested, and I'm happy to move a motion for approval think it's appropriate
Yeah.
for the site, and I would
Okay.
move forward.
So motion by Ms. Casson,
I'll second that.
second by Mr. Allison. Those in favor? It's approved. Congratulations, unanimous. And that concludes our hearing for today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The hearing is now concluded. Have a nice evening.
You too.
Oh, motion to adjourn. Do we need a motion to adjourn? I don't think you need a motion to adjourn, but,
I do for my minutes, please, and thank you.
Put forward the motion to adjourn.
all right. Approved? Okay, that's final.
I've done minutes for 20 years here, and we've always had a motion for adjournment. Unless I'm told otherwise. I'll go with my manager on that point, sign and answer that question.